Welcome to Across the Diamond. Is this episode nine
I believe it's
or
episode
eight?
8.
Eight, yeah,
Yeah.
eight. We're gonna be giving our top 15 corner outfielders today. I'm one of your co-hosts, Ryan McKinney,
I'm the second part of your co-host, Andrew Manjares.
and yeah, should we get straight into rankings, or is there anything you want to talk about before?
Is there any recent news?
Not really, not that I could think
Um,
of, to be honest.
the
I mean,
Cubs are interested in Justin Turner if they're unable to land Alex Bregman.
the
The
Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champs.
Yes, it's officially baseball season.
Yeah,
The Dodgers
that's.
have agreed to terms with free agent utility man Kike Hernandez. They bring him back,
Oh yes, I
and
remember that.
the Padres agree to terms with the free agent outfield first base outfielder Gavin Sheets on a minor league
Gavin
contract.
Sheets, yeah.
So we'll see if he makes the big leagues.
And
And
pitchers and catchers began reporting to spring training.
The Padres
So
also agreed to terms with free agent Jason Hayward. So Jason Hayward's going to go to San Diego.
just
It's
some
rumored
minuscule
that
moves.
Yoan Moncada is going to be the primary third baseman over Anthony Rendon. So we'll see how that works out.
We knew that was going to happen.
The White Sox have agreed to terms with free agent Brandon Drury on a minor league contract. We'll see if he bounces back. I doubt it, but we'll see. And then the Padres are closing in on an agreement with the free agent infield outfielder Connor Joe. And the D-backs signed Trey Mancini on a minor league contract with the invite to spring training. And I believe that's it. The Cardinals signed Nick Anderson to a minor league deal. Shout out Nick Anderson. Yeah,
Alrighty. Just some minuscule moves.
nothing too crazy.
Yeah,
I'm excited to get into this list, man.
I am
Um,
too. Hopefully it's not as
Top 15 corner outfielders. Um,
egregious as and we don't argue
I hope not. I hope we just keep it super
as
calm and collected.
pressed.
I hope we can come to agreement on at least a couple of these, man. But I'll let
All
you
right.
take it first. I know you have three honorable mentions, so I'll let you go and take the first of three.
So my first three honorable. You want me just to do one?
Yeah, just do one.
All right. My first honorable mention is Colton Cowser of the Baltimore Orioles.
Okay.
Coming off his 24 year age 24 season, pretty much a rookie. Finished top three in rookie of the year, put up a 770 OPS, 123 OPS plus, and a 3.1 B WAR. I'm projecting him to be a top in outfielder next season. I couldn't quite find a slot for him on the top 15. It's hard because this is a loaded list. A lot of
It's only loaded
superstars.
because we're combining left field and right field.
That's what I'm saying. It's a
Yeah.
loaded list. There's superstars all over the field on this list. There's consistency. There's young superstars that project to be even better than they have been. And yeah, I just couldn't quite find a spot for him. But what I'm he's projected to have a 745 OPS and a next season. I think that's underselling Colin Cowser. I think he's gonna have a much better season than that, but he's also a good defender. So yeah, just excited to see how his career progresses.
I think I'm in a little bit of disagreement here. I have Colton Cowser at number 15. I think
Well, just
I fit
spoil
him in
your
there.
list.
I fit him in there, man. I fit in Colton Cowser on there, so I'll get to him when I get there to number 15. But yeah, shout out Colton Cowser. It looks like he almost made your list, but didn't quite get it there. But at the very least, is an honorable mention. So him at 15 for me, I think is reasonable. My first honorable mention is Jurickson Profar. I think
That's also one of my honorable
yeah,
mentions.
I
That's
wanted to
my
fit him
next one.
on
So
here, man. I wanted to fit him on here. He had a great year last year, man. There's no denying that. He started the All-Star game, if I'm not mistaken. Through 158 games, he had a 3.6 B WAR, batted 280 with a 380 on base percentage. I mean, elite, you know what I mean? 459 slug, great for an 839 OPS on the year with 134 OPS plus. For the viewers that don't necessarily understand OPS plus, if you have an 100 OPS plus, you're an average hitter. So for him to have 134 OPS plus, that means he's 34% better than the average player, at least at the plate. Just a great year, man. Finished top 15 MVP voting in the National League, won a Silver Slugger with his first All-Star nod. I mean, not much to say on Jurickson Profar, man. His F4 is even better at a 4.3 with the 139 WRC plus with the 364 WOBA. I mean, just a great year, man. It's just his projections are showing to him for him to have a 1.7 F4. And honestly, I think that sounds about right. I don't ever see Jurickson Profar really repeating this year. Just based off of sample size alone and based off of who he has been throughout his whole career. I'm hopeful.
Or what about his
I want to be
underlining
wrong.
numbers?
I want to be wrong. Yeah, I was gonna pull up that after I was talking
And
about
he
the projected.
and he's going to a more hitter-friendly ballpark.
And he also has a lot of protection in that lineup. It's just there's no signs of him slowing down. I really did want to get him break him into the top 15. Is just based off of just his sample size is so big of it being bad. It's just I can't throw him in the top 15 yet. You know what I
I
mean? If he
mean, he
repeats
is a
this
top
year or
20
even yeah, top
outfielder.
20 for sure, top
So
20 for sure.
that's a great player.
Yeah. I like to see he's not a very good defender, man.
He's horrible,
Negative
actually.
seven outs above average. He's not very fast either, you know, like he hits he's a switch hitter, he's very valuable to a lot of teams, and you saw him, he got paid, man. You can't hate on that whatsoever. He goes over to the Braves with a lot of protection, like I just mentioned, on a 3-year deal with $42 million. Even if he's half of the player he was in 2024, I mean, for 42 million over 3 years, I think that's still a great player, and I think that's what they're projecting him to be at. But as of right now, man, if he even gives me 75% of what he did in 2024, I'll throw him on the top 15. But as of right now, I just can't.
So since we both have him as honorable mentions, if he has over an 800 OPS and puts up about a 3-win season in the F4 category, do you think he's a top 15 outfielder next season?
It depends because a lot of these guys on my top
That's
15
what I'm
list,
saying.
a lot of these guys on my top 15 list have a better track record.
I
They
don't know who would
have,
fall off.
yeah, I don't know who would fall off. I mean, you'd really have to have a lot of these guys take a step forward.
Yeah.
When I get to my number 14 guy, I feel like 14, maybe he can surpass number 14, but as of right now, I don't see that happening. But if there's anybody that I can see him overtaking in the top 15 is my number 14. That's about it.
All right. Should since I have we have both profile and honorable mention, give your last one too, and then I'll give
My
mine.
last honorable mention, it kind of hurts to say because I'm a big fan of this guy, is Brian Reynolds, man. I couldn't quite fit him in there. I wanted to, trust me, I really did, but I just can't. Who's your last honorable mention?
Mine's Randy Arozarena.
Yeah,
I
Randy
feel like they're
Rosarin.
the it's just hard to rank these guys because they're bat first guys and they're coming off
And
not their
by
best
no means,
season.
man. Yeah, by no means did Brian Reynolds have a bad year. It's just
No.
combining left field and right field. You can't. I can't justify having him in my top 15. That's just the sad reality of it. Put up a 3.6 B WAR, about a 275 with a 344 on base with a 447 slug. Gave him a 791 OPS with 119 OPS plus. That's not a bad year by any means, man. Not even remotely like at all, not even close to being a bad year. Had 24 homers, dude, with 10 stolen bases. So he's a valuable asset, man. He's definitely the only guy that the Pirates have paid in recent memory on an 8-year, $106.75 million contract with a team option to bring it to 9 years. He's a good player. He's a really good player. He's very consistent as well. Kind of those numbers that you're gonna see in this 2024 season is basically who Brian Reynolds is as a player. I can make arguments that he could be in the top 15. It just
It's
how do you look at consistency? You know what I mean? How do you look at a player like Brian Reynolds? If you want to throw him on the top 15, I really have no arguments for it. But just me personally, I just don't think he's a top 15 player.
he's a high
But
floor kind of guy, but
high
his
floor.
ceiling
And
isn't as high as some of these guys in the
exactly.
top 15.
I don't see him being a superstar, and that's just the reality of the situation. I think a lot of these other guys can be superstars, at least like a little bit higher on the ceiling than Brian Reynolds. But if you look at a Savant, terrible defender, which seems like if you were just even a halfway decent defender, I feel like you could throw Brian Reynolds in there, but he really brings no value at all on the defensive side of things, man. He ranked in the first percentile of range with a negative 13 outs above average. I mean, he played left field. I mean, you gotta have you can at least be an average defender out there and left, but Brian Reynolds, like you said, when you were talking about Jurickson Profar, they're both bat first outfielders, and for that exact reason, I just had to leave him out the top 15. But shout out to Brian Reynolds, man. I do think he's an incredible player.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I like Brian Reynolds. I'm surprised he's not a first baseman yet, to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
yeah. To be
But
honest, yeah,
yeah, it's just he's one of those players where you love to watch and you love to have him on your team if he's playing for you because you just know consistency is welcomed across the league and he's definitely a player that is consistently a well above average hitter in the hitter in the game. So it's always appreciated across the league. And then if you say you've got Colton
if you
Cowser,
move Brian Reynolds to maybe first base, I think I think you can make an argument that might be a top 10 first baseman in the league. I think he only gets better with that change. And honestly, like the more I think about it, I really think that's a move the Pirates should make.
Yeah, we'll see because I don't know. They just Pittsburgh just doesn't seem to click with their players and putting them in the best positions to be
I mean, you saw
successful.
O'Neal
So
Cruz get off a short to go to center, so I definitely feel like those are definitely conversations inside those clubhouses with the baseball operations for the Pittsburgh Pirates. But I feel like you could have left O'Neal Cruz at center, and the move you should have made, I think, is Ryan Reynolds to first. I think that would a little bit smarter. But I also do see why O'Neal Cruz is in center. I think his athleticism, it will play as a center fielder, and time will tell.
yeah. All right, let's get into our top 15 then.
Well, you want to touch base on Randy Arozarena and why
Oh
he's
yeah,
an honorable
Randy's
mention?
just a consistent. We want to talk about consistency. Both of these players are super consistent. Not great defenders, either of them. Randy's a little bit more athletic than Brian Reynolds, though. And you could pencil Randy in for 2020 most of his career. I mean, that's the borderline or baseline of his career. I mean, if we go back to 2021, 815 OPS, 2022, 773 OPS, 2023, 790 OPS. And this past season, he did struggle, which is why I think he fell off of my top 20 list. Um, but if we put those seasons together in about 600 games, he's got about a 12 WAR, um, accumulated B WAR, a 774 OPS, and a 120 OPS plus. I mean, just consistent. And that's not including that breakout season in 2020 where obviously we saw him go off in the playoffs. But yeah, just consistent. We know exactly what we're going to get from Randy. You could even see him go 30-20-20 or 20-30. He's very capable on the base paths. And yeah, I'm just excited to see if he could provide some thump to that Seattle lineup that desperately needs it. Um, Believe it or not, he actually did hit better as a Mariner than he did as a Tampa Bay Ray this past season, which is surprising because no one really, you know, hits well. He had a 118 OPS as a Mariner in 54 games. So that's encouraging to see.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I spent a lot of time looking at Randy Arozarena during his time in Tampa. Um, Honestly, out of all of our honorable mentions, I feel like I'm the least high on Randy Arozarena, although he is a walking 20-20-20. It's just I'd really like to see just maybe 50% of what he does in the playoffs. I'd just like to see him a little lock in a little bit better, more at the plate. He also refuses to walk, which is something I hold to very high standards. But it's definitely harder to hit out in Seattle, which is very surprising to me that he actually had better numbers in Seattle. If you can ride that wave, playing right next to J Rod, I really think him and J Rod are a good 1-2 punch, at least as a dual threat on the base path as well as at the plate. Because Randy Arozarena has pop, he has pretty decent pop, and yeah, I wanted to have Randy Arozarena as an honorable mention too. It's just I felt like Jurickson Profar as well as Brian Reynolds. Just I feel like they're more of a safer bet.
You said Randy fails to walk. He's actually pretty good in that category. He was in the 88th percentile this past season, and 2023 he was in the 87th percentile.
Then
So
I was absolutely mistaken. I think it was
yeah,
the average that I was talking about. His
yeah,
average has been dropping.
yeah. This
That
past
is,
season he
yeah,
struggled. So
yeah.
I mean, but he was finding ways to get on base. So
You're good for him. That's on me.
all good. Yeah, let's get into our top 15s then. You
All right,
want
man.
to yeah touch base on Cole Cowser? You already yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what's to be said about Colton Cowser? I mean, I feel like out of all the three guys that you saw, I feel like Colton Cowser maybe the closest one to breaking that top 15, and for good reason. Colton Cowser just finished second in Rookie of the Year voting. Like I said, I mean, when you look at a guy that put up a 3.1 B WAR with 24 homers and finished second in Rookie of the Year voting to Luis Hill, which you can make an argument that Colton Cowser deserved that award and was the most deserving. But he batted 242 with a 321 on base percentage with 24 home runs and a 760 OPS for a 123 OPS plus. I really want to emphasize the fact that Colton Cowser is a rookie. He plays outstanding defense. He's in the 96th percentile of range and outs above average with 11 and 96th percentile on arm strength at a 93.1 miles per hour average from on his arm in the outfield. He has in the 90th percentile on barrel percentage. So when he does swing the bat, it finds barrels, man. I would like to see the whiff percentage be a little higher. It's in the 16th percentile. But as we mentioned in previous videos, this guy's a rookie, and we definitely saw the whiff percentages go up for
For
rookies
every
these past
rookie down
years.
there.
And for a rookie to be in the 64th percentile on walk percentage, I mean, I just feel like as a rookie, that's only going to go higher as the more games you play in the big leagues and you work on that discipline. So for him to already show that type of discipline, it is really good. He's in the 7th percentile in K percentage, but I mean, everybody strikes out, man. I really don't really pay attention to the K percentage as much as I used to. It's really hard to hit in the big leagues as a, it's always been harder, but I feel like it's especially harder now. And if I had to base anything on who is going to be better from the rookie season to their sophomore year, I feel like Colton Cowser's in that conversation. He steals bags, at least at a decent clip. I mean, he's definitely someone you want to keep an eye out on the bases, but at the same time, you're not always going to catch him stealing. He put up a 4 F4, and his projections have him at a 119 WRC plus with 120 WRC plus just this past season. So his projections just a slight tick down. And I feel like him taking over the role of Anthony Santander, it just shows you how high the Baltimore Orioles are on this guy. And me included, man, I really think Colin Cowser is going to be turned into a great, decent player over there in Baltimore. And that's why he's my number 15.
Yeah, I mean, I like Colin Cowser. I wanted to put him on my top 15 list too, but like I said, he just couldn't quite etch himself on there, but I could definitely see him jumping onto that list.
Yeah.
He's a talented player, and I think underratedly, he's a physical specimen in our league. I mean,
Yeah,
he's a
he's
big
big. He's a
guy
big
and he
dude.
can move. I've seen him play center well, so for him to be a good or play center well, you could only imagine and dream on the. Yeah, there's just a lot to dream on that corner defense. So I'm excited to see how his career progresses.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, I think it's a fair assessment to have him at 15. I don't think it's a hot take at all. Just what he put up at his rookie year, I feel like that's not even I mean, maybe scratching the surface. I just feel like he has a lot left in the tank to even be a lot better. And yeah, man, I'm really excited to see Colton Cowser play. He's only 24, he'll be 25 when the season starts. I mean, he's very young, still has a lot of time to grow, and he's going to be, sitting in that lineup with, the likes of Gunnar Henderson, Jordan Westberg, and Adley Rutschman. So I really like Colton Cowser, and I look forward to watching.
All right, well, my 15 is Lawrence Butler of the Oakland A's.
Okay.
Uh, Also a rookie this past season, and he broke out in the second half. I mean, just went on a tear. Post All-Star break, he actually was sent down and was struggling beforehand, but he made a swing adjustment, and it really just helped his season take off. Post All-Star break, he put up an 899 OPS in 61 games, hit tw 13 homers, 17 doubles, and three doubles, and was just really like destroying baseballs. I mean, hitting them hard as shit. If we look at his underlining metrics too, he was in the 80th percentile in xWOBA, 86th percentile in xSlug. 80th percentile in average exit velo and 83rd percentile in hard hit rate. I mean, this guy came up and started mashing baseballs. He's also an average defender at a corner, put up 0 outs above average. Doesn't have the best arm or the worst arm. Is just decent out there as a corner outfielder. But I mean, he's a good base runner. Stole 18 bags this season and was in the 91st percentile in base running run value. And I'm excited to see how he progresses as we take a step into what the Sacramento Athletics, I'm sorry, um roster is going to look like when they head over to Vegas. I think Lawrence Butler is a guy that they're planning to take over there after this breakout, and if he continues to put up numbers like that, he could be an all-star, and he could be someone who is a stepping stool and just exclamation point in that A's lineup moving forward.
Yeah, man, he's only 23 as well. I feel like he has a lot of room to grow. Lawrence Butler's my number 14. Um, I like Lawrence Butler a lot. I like a lot of his game, and like you said, he's an average defender out there, and he's a really above average bat over there in a corner outfield for a lackluster type of ball club. So I really feel like we're gonna expect a lot of things, especially being in that new Sacramento ballpark, or not new, but that minor league ballpark that they're gonna play up until 2028. Still under a lot of team control. I feel like maybe these next few years, I feel like a lot of these teams are gonna be calling on him because Oakland likes to trade a lot of their players, a lot of their guys, and I feel like he's a big asset to a lot of these ball clubs. Being to have a 131 OPS plus in your sophomore year with the 3 B WAR, I mean that's incredible, and I feel like he still has a lot of untapped power, a lot of raw power that he really hasn't tapped into yet. I think he's more in like he hit 22 homers this year through 125 games, so with a lot of games that he didn't play, so I feel like he can get to that 30 range over a full season, and I don't think that's a hot take at all.
Yeah, not at all. My 14 is Anthony Santander, the newest Blue Jay. Coming off of a career season where he hit over 40 homers. Um, the problem with Santander is he's really a one-trick pony, and that's why I wanted to put Lawrence Butler above him, but I just gave it to gave the edge to the veteran who's been doing it for the past few years. Um, but in 2024, he put up, like I said, 44 homers and an 814 OPS. The problem, like I said, is he's a one-trick pony. He doesn't really get on base at 308 on base percentage, 235 batting average, and just an OPS, or he did OPS 134, which is elite, but a lot, like I said, a lot of that comes from the power. So if he's not slugging, if he doesn't hit over 35 homers, this is the guy that can completely fall off of this top 15 list with the talent coming up and the talent in front of him and behind him already. So I'm excited. I think he does get back to that range next season, which is why I have him at 14 because I think he's going to get to that 40 number again in the home run category and over 100 RBIs driven in, and put up around a 3B WAR again. And that's super valuable nowadays. We've seen Kyle Schwarber carve out a career of just hitting homers. I know he doesn't walk at the same clip that Kyle Schwarber does, but if we look into his projections, usually projections are on the low end of what players are capable of doing, and he's projected 31 homers. Like I said, if he gets over 35, he's a valuable player on any MLB team, and it's going to be around that 800 OPS and 130 OPS plus. So,
Yeah, man. So I have Anthony Santerre a little bit higher, not much higher. I just want to give credit where credit's due. I'll get into that when I get to that player. But before I get into number 13, let's take a quick break. Yeah, man. So I'm not mad at Anthony Santerre or you said he was at 13,
14, 14, 14.
14, and then Lawrence Butler at 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think Anthony Santerre just a little bit better. Nothing too crazy. I just want to give credit where credit's due, but I'm not mad at that. I can definitely see your reasoning as to putting him below a lot of these guys, but I think Anthony Santander is a great player, and I'll touch base on how I feel about him when I get to him. But as far as my number 13 is, I have Wyatt Langford, man. I have Wyatt Langford at number 13. Um, great year, great year. At least for a rookie year. Started off slow. I wanted to go over his splits. In the first half, he played 72 games with 5 homers, which is actually really surprising, especially if you watched a lot of his college days. Anybody who knows Wyatt Langford going into that draft would project him to be a very high power threat because that's all he did in Florida was mash, hit home runs. He batted a 254 in the first half with a 318 on base percentage. As well as his college days, Wyatt Langford's always been very disciplined at the plate. So it's very nice to see that that's translated at a higher level, especially in Major League Baseball. And didn't have the biggest of sample sizes in the minors either. It seems like he was an automatic call up, which is I feel like is very deserving, especially over there in their on the Rangers where they didn't have a lot of high caliber outfielders. So for Chris Young, the GM, to give Wyatt Langford a lot of run out there without ever sending him down is big props to him. Is big props to him because I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed watching him play a lot. And for him to develop in the big leagues is it's just a great experience, and I really like that. But he batted 254 in the first half with a 384 slug, very low, especially if, like I said, he was a really big power guy. And with the 702 OPS, but he really saved his season in the second half, man. 62 games, and you saw him tap into a lot of that power, which is where he was projected to be at, with 11 homers in the second half. I mean, that's really great. He really saved his season there to give him 16 on the year. Batted 251, lower batting average with a higher on base percentage at 333, with a 450 slug compared to a 384 slug in the first half to give him a 784 OPS in the second half. So, I mean, really good rookie year. Kind of underwhelming, especially as a Rangers fan. I'm sure you can say that maybe you expected a little bit more, but not a bad year by any means. He still accumulated a 3.9 B WAR with a 2.9 F WAR, 110 WRC plus. Just a great year all around, man. If you want to pull up his savant real quick, he's in the 84th percentile on bat speed, so he swings the ball hard. 86th percentile in chase percentage, which is really, really nice to see. Like I said in the beginning, for his discipline to translate into the big leagues, you really don't see that a lot from rookies, especially with chase percentages. So I really like to see that he was very disciplined at the plate. Good defender, 2 outs above average with an 80 range, 80th percentile in range. He has a cannon of an arm with not a cannon of the arm, just his arm values at the 89th percentile, decent arm, 87.1 miles per hour average. And he's fast, bro. He's a big dude, but he is fast.
He's an
98th
NFL
percent.
running back.
Yeah, dude, he is fast. 98th percentile, 29.8 feet per second. Really, really fast, man. There's not really much I can really touch on Wyatt Langford. I feel like he does everything really well. and that's why he's a top 15 corner outfielder. He's definitely going to be projected a lot higher when we do this list at the end of 2025 season because I'm extremely high on White Langford, and I think he's only getting better. And I really feel like the Rangers are going to get their money's worth when they drafted him at number 4, which is insane. I feel like he should have gone a little bit higher, which I mean, it's take it with a grain of salt. He was a fourth overall pick, but you can make an argument he could be picked over Dylan Cruz and Max Clark. So good on the Rangers, man. I'm sure they're very happy to see that Wyatt Langford fell to them at the 4 spot.
Yeah, I have Wyatt Langford higher on my list, so I'll
Yeah.
get into what I think he can be and what I think he's going to be this coming up season. But my 13 slot, I slide into Brandon Nimmo.
Okay.
Um,
I forgot about Brandon Nimmo. Fuck. Oopsie
what you
poopsie. I thought I
what
was
do you
gonna play
think he was going to be
center.
center?
Yeah, I thought I was gonna play center.
Yeah, I
Damn
mean,
it.
I could see that. He
I still
played
don't.
corner majority of last season, and then they have Jose Siri and what's the other center fielder name? I'm blanking right now. Not a big deal, but I think
Yeah, I
he's going to
don't.
play
I don't
corner.
see. I like to see that you're showing Brandon Nimmo a little bit of love. I just think Lawrence Butler and Colton Cowser, I think they're projected to be, in my personal opinion, I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think you can give Brandon Nimmo that 15, 14, or 13, but he definitely would be an honorable mention at the very least. I like Brandon Nimmo a
I
lot.
mean, well, if you thought so, you thought he was going to play center. So would you have had him top 15 if you had a
I
corner?
think it would have been a tough conversation between him, Butler, and Cowser.
Yeah,
If I
I
did a
mean,
little bit more research, I think I'd give the edge a little bit over Cowser just because he has a higher sample size, even though he
this
didn't
guy's
perform well last year.
had an
But
800
yeah,
OPS
and he
from
plays good defense
2021.
too. He plays good
Yeah, so
defense.
this is what I'll get into. Mr.
Yeah,
Consistent is Brandon
yeah.
Nimmo. In the past 4 seasons, in 546 games, he's put up a 15 B WAR with a OPS at 794 and a 123 OPS plus. I mean, we saw he got paid by the Mets. And I told Andrew going into that offseason, if he hits the market, I would appreciate the Rangers throwing him a contract. I really like Brandon Nimmo. He's like I said, his floor's high. We've seen him. This was his worst season he's had in a long time.
Yeah.
Just a 727 OPS. But I think he was battling with injury. I don't want to put that on him and just say that about every player that struggled. But I mean, he still put up a 2.2 B WAR, and if your floor is a 2.5 win season, where your ceiling's a 5 win season, back in 2022, you're doing a lot of things right. And I think Brandon Nimmo is just a consistent, steady guy in that Mets lineup. And I think the Mets need him to have a big year this season if they want to make a deep playoff run. And I'm just excited to see what he does. I mean, he does everything on the baseball field well. He defends well, he runs well, and he hits well. So. Uh, I'm not to gloss over Brandon Nimmo, but he's just Mr. Consistent. There's not much to say about him.
Yeah.
He walks, he hits the ball well. He slugs at a decent clip. He defends at a decent clip, and he runs at a decent clip. Did you think? Okay, I'm gonna set a line for you. Brandon Nimmo, 1.5, um, over or under All-Star appearances.
In his career so far,
Yeah,
I want to say under. I feel like he doesn't get a lot of love.
he's never been an
Yeah.
All-Star,
Yeah, I don't
which
think
is
so.
crazy to me.
Because Brandon Nimmo's really good, man.
Yeah, but
Um,
that's not any disrespect. He's a great
mm,
player, but when I saw that, I was like, wow, really never been an all-star. But in 2022, I think his second half he really went crazy, and then 2021 he was injured most of the first half too. To be fair to him, his two best seasons, um, he kind of was like a Lindor who's never been an all-star on the Mets. It's just a crazy thing over there in New York where they struggle in the first half. But yeah, let's get into number 12.
so my number 12, just like I said, is a couple spots higher than your number 14. I have Anthony Santander at number 12.
Okay.
Um, Anthony Santander, I projected him to get at least 100 million. I mean, he got close at 92 and a half. I like to see him get paid, man. I mean, the way we talked about Brandon Nimmo about consistency, I feel like Anthony Santander is a tick higher as form of the bat, but he's also a couple ticks lower on the on the defensive side. But I mean,
Couple.
I got to give credits. Yeah, a couple, sure, couple ticks down. He's a little bit of a un, just slightly under average defender. He has a -2 outs above average. I mean, if you just want to play just regular defense, just have that number 0. You know what I mean? I think that's easily accomplishable for Anthony Santander, and he also gives you flexibility where you can also plug him in at first base too. I know he could play first. We've seen him play first. I think it's clogged. I don't think he's ever gonna play first. For the Blue Jays at least this year, unless they're not able to bring back Vladdy. I'm sure you can slide in Anthony Santander. So kind of give him a little bit of insurance maybe. But 814 OPS with 134 OPS plus. I mean, that's just solid. His OPS should be a lot higher but he just 235 on base with a 308 on base percentage, but a 506 slug to give him an 814 OPS, which is, I mean, it's just so surprising to see someone with a 506 slug only have an 814 OPS, but he needs to walk. And the way that I say that is just, it's kind of contradicting because he does walk. He's in the 60th percentile on walk percentage. It's just, I feel like the caliber of hitter he is, I feel like I just want to see him on base just a little bit more. But I have to give credit where credit's due. He hit 44 home runs this year, man. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's top five in the league. And that's why he just slightly above Wyatt Langford. But that's just right now, man. I really think Wyatt Langford's a good player, and I think he's going to be better than Anthony Santander. But it just all comes down to I just got to give credit where credit's due. The underlying metrics don't love Anthony Santander, but I mean, you could say a lot of good players that their underlying metrics aren't good. Jose Ramirez is a great example. Framber Valdez is a great example. They're just playing above their projected stats. I mean, you could say call it getting luck all you want, but he's good at baseball. I think he's really good at baseball, and he's very consistent. He has 114 OPS plus on his career with a 776 OPS for his career as well. And give him 155 homers on the career. I mean, if he wants to call it a career as of today, I mean, that's a great career. And I feel like he's really going to do very well out there in Baltimore, especially batting from the right side. I think he's going to tap into even more
Toronto.
power. Or Toronto, yes. I feel like
Yeah.
he's going to tap into even some more power. Do I think he gets back to that 44 number? It's hard to tell. It's just, I mean, he's done it before, so what's saying that he can stop and not
If
do
I
it
put the
again?
line at 38.5, would you take the over or under?
I mean, his career high before 44 was 33. I
That's
think he
why
can
I
tap
kind
into
of took the hat
30.
middle.
Yeah, I could think he's 35 homer potential. I think that's a safe bet. If the line's set at 33 and a half, 34 and a half, I think I'm gonna smash the over. But I think I'm gonna have to take the over on 38 and a half. But I
Take
hope he
the
proves me
over?
wrong. I'm gonna take the under if it
Oh,
if
okay.
the line's at a 38 and a half. But I hope he surprises me. I hope I'm wrong. I just think Anthony Santander is a great player, and I can testify to that. He's my 12th best corner outfielder in the league, and yeah, I'm a really big fan of Anthony Santander.
So my 12th is Ian Happ
Okay.
of the Chicago Cubs. Also, like I said, there's just consistency stacked here at
Yeah.
the bottom
I
half of
have
this top
Ian
15.
Happ up as my 11th, so I'll let you go. I'll let you talk
Okay.
about Ian Happ. Yeah.
Yeah, Ian Happ. We could both talk about him then.
Yeah.
Ian Happ, obviously, we're both big fans of Ian Happ. I mean,
Yeah.
he does everything decently well on a baseball field.
You can
Three-time
even make an
Gold
argument
Glover
that he's
Ian Happ, by the way.
slightly, yeah, he's slightly above average at everything, man.
Even though Ian Happ's really not a good defender, he's a three-time Gold Glove. He's won three straight seasons having -2 outs above average. It just tells you how much of a joke that uh award has become. But nonetheless, he's a consistent 20 homer, 785 OPS plus or OPS guy with just solid def or like average defense, and he's gonna take his walks. I mean, this guy finds a way to get on base. He hit 243 this season with an on base percentage of 341. Just super, super consistent, super impactful. Always finds a way to grind through at bats. Sits around that 3 WAR season or 3 to 3.5 win seasons all the time. And the last 3 seasons, if you put his number combined in 470 games, 63 homers. So he's averaging about 21 homers a season. Like I said, 111 doubles in the last 3 seasons, almost 40 a year with a 785 OPS and a 118 OPS plus. Just super consistent. 11 WAR in that time span too. He had a 2022 was his best season accumulating WAR, put up a 4.2. Um, but yeah, just Mr. Consistent. If there's anything you want to add to that, go for it. But I just love Ian Happ's game.
Yeah, I
Super underrated
mean,
player.
there's not much to really bring on Ian Happ. I just feel like he's just a safe bet, man. He's the definition of a safe bet. And I think out of all these left fielders, I think I'd argue that he is probably the most consistent one. He's not gonna hit for the highest of averages, but he's gonna walk, man. I mean, he has a career 343 on base percentage with a 248 career batting average with a 794 OPS with 115 OPS plus, excuse me. Um, I don't think he deserves all the gold gloves he has, but he's definitely an okay defender. I mean, you could definitely
He's
plug
an
him out
average
there
defender. Yeah.
and feel safe about it, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think Ian Happ's a great player. I think he's just a tick above Anthony Santander, maybe a tick down on the power department, but just a tick up in as far as walks, as far as just defense in general. He's an okay base runner too, so you like to see that as well. I mean, he had 13 stolen bases this year with 25 homers. So I mean, it's just a great year altogether, and it just seems like that's his numbers for his entire career. So good on Ian Happ. I think he has a semi decent contract. I mean, 3 years, $61 million. I mean, you want to call it a career after that 3 year contract's over. I mean, you're never gonna have to work again. So I just testifies to how good of a player Ian Happ is, and he's only 30 years old, man. I mean, he could definitely tap in to a little bit of a higher level as well, and I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. And that's why he's ranked my 11th best left fielder in the game.
My 11th best corner outfielder is Teoscar Hernandez, coming
Okay,
off of a career year, 840 OPS for the Dodgers, 33 homers. Um, I was actually planning on putting him a little higher. I went the young route and um, I don't know. If I was to describe my next four players, it's guys who have a way higher ceiling than Teoscar and do it on
I
both sides of
have
the ball.
Teoscar Hernandez one spot higher at number 10.
Okay, so
Yeah,
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 we could both talk about Teoscar
yeah,
again.
yeah.
Um, So Teoscar coming off a career season, just was really good in that Dodgers lineup.
I just
Dodgers
want to go
fans
over the
loved him.
accolades of what he had this year. I mean, he's an all-star this year. He won a World Series this year. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he win like a championship series MVP or won the series MVPs, if I'm not mistaken?
No, no, Tommy Edman
Um,
was CS
yeah.
MVP, and then
And
Freddie
then
Freeman was
it
World
was World
Series.
Series. Yeah, you're right. I just wanted to testify to the fact that even in the playoffs, Teoscar Hernandez definitely had his fair share of games of playing well. He won a Silver Slugger this year, won the Home Run Derby this year, was an All Star this year, and finished top 20 in MVP. I mean, what more can you ask out of a corner outfielder than Teoscar Hernandez? I mean, his savant's great. He has the 94th percentile in barrel percentage, in the 91st percentile in expected slugging, 83rd percentile in xWOBA. Um, he's not a good defender. He's not a good defender at all. -9 outs above average, decent arm, 70th percentile in arm strength at 87.5 miles an hour. And he could run. He's in the 83rd percentile in sprint speed at 28.6 feet per second. So Teoscar Hernandez is a very good player. 840 OPS with 137 OPS plus with a 501 slug, 33 homers, 99 RBIs. I mean, being in that protection in the lineup with the Dodgers, I mean, I think that's why they brought him back. I mean, what else can you testify? He performs well under the bright lights over there in LA. You bring him back on a 3 year deal worth $66 million. And I don't think anyone in the baseball community is arguing the type of caliber of player Teoscar Hernandez is. I think he's the similar hitter to the guys we just mentioned, and Ian Happ and Anthony Santander, maybe just a little bit better based off his career. And I think maybe he's also the safest option at the plate, but he's definitely not going to play the other side of the ball in defense. But Teoscar Hernandez is a great player. I just want to give love to him for sure.
So, do you want to tell the viewers at home about our bet for Teoscar Hernandez
Yeah,
this
I don't.
season?
I project him to be a tick lower. I feel like he's gonna be revert back to who he was for a majority of his career, which is around like a hovering over an 800 OPS in the middle of 750 800. I have a bet with Ryan that he's gonna finish about a 780 OPS this year.
Yeah, the line
I
is
just
780.5, by the
yeah,
way. He thinks
I
he's going to
don't.
go under
I
that.
think
I
he's
do.
gonna take a tick lower. It's just I don't know. I think I'm just a Teoscar Hernandez hater. I just think I just don't like the
It's a
Dodgers.
it's that AL
Yeah,
East bias and the
yeah.
Dodgers bias. 0 for
I don't
2.
like Teoscar Hernandez. He played
I'm
in
not a
Toronto. You know what I mean? He then he goes to LA. I just you know
I
what I mean?
mean, I
He's
could
in
see the route
and a
of you
divisional.
winning that bet,
Yeah,
definitely. But I definitely see multiple routes of me winning that bet. But I
no, for
just wanted to
sure.
bring it up because you were obviously just giving him his flowers,
Yeah,
and
I
I just
think
thought it
Teoscar
was
Hernandez
funny.
is a good player, man. I mean,
Yeah,
when it's all said and done, I mean, take my personal feelings away, which I promised to do that in front of these viewers when our podcast
yeah,
first started. I want to take away my bias as possible, as much as possible, man. Teoscar Hernandez is a good player. I mean,
yeah.
there's no hate to me.
I mean, a
Um,
780 OPS is a good
It's like,
player
yeah, that's what
too,
I'm saying.
anyways. So
I don't really think it was.
you're
I
not
just don't see him
projecting him to be
repeating. I mean,
bad.
these are all
Yeah,
of his career numbers aside from 2020 when he had a 919 OPS and 2021 when he had an 870 OPS. I mean, he has the career highs in homers. He just had a lot of career highs. I mean, Silver Slugger this year. I mean, what more can I say about Teoscar Hernandez? I feel like he was riding a wave over there in LA. And I just feel like he's gonna come back to earth, and I just don't. That's just how I feel.
nah, I got you. Just
Yeah,
wanted to bring it up just for
yeah.
some jokes. My number 10 is Wyatt Langford. This is where I slid in
Okay.
Wyatt Langford. And you guys could call me biased. I don't care. If I put up a page of what I think Wyatt Langford is, or a stat sheet of what I think Wyatt Langford's stats are going to be at the end of the season, I don't think anyone in this watching this video, or you or I, Andrew, would say this isn't a top 10 to 8 to 5 corner outfielder. I think that's the kind of season he's going to have.
I
I
feel
mean, I
like you
think
should
he's going to
also give him
go.
a little bit of flowers too because he is such a good defender. I think he can even
He's
be a
elite. That's what
top
I was going to
five
say.
center fielder too. You know what I mean? If
Yeah,
he wants to go play center, I feel like he can hold it
he
down there as
can.
well.
But I mean, I think he has the ability of going 40, 30, 30 with even more stolen bases with elite defense in the corner. And that's what I'm projecting him to do this season. I know it's hefty projections, but I've seen the kid play since his sophomore year at Florida, when he first started getting PT. And I love this kid. I mean, you could ask Andrew how I reacted when we drafted him. It was almost
Oh
like we won
man.
the World Series.
He said, Twins, please draft Max Clark, brother. Please
No,
draft
no,
Max Clark.
Tigers, Tigers.
Tigers,
Yeah,
please draft
because
Max
I
Clark,
wanted Wyatt
please.
Langford in
Yeah.
Rangers jersey so bad. And Andrew could also
Or
attest to this. I walked up to Chris Young at an Angel Rangers game when me and Andrew went, and I said, "When is the kid Wyatt gonna get the call? He needs to be up on this team."
yeah.
Um, So I'm just super high on Wyatt Langford. I mean, he's one of my favorite players in the league already, and
Between
I'm
him and Evan
expecting
Carter, who do you like the most?
Evan Carter's my boy. I've been watching Evan Carter just because he was a second round draft pick, came out of nowhere, and I've been following him since his like
hmm
low A balls. Whoa,
Low
pause.
A ball.
Low A ball
yeah.
career. But Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter, I can we extend both? I want them to be Rangers for lifers, both
Yeah,
of them,
man.
and just patrol our outfield and dominate for a long time. But yeah, if we actually break down his last 35 games of the season, he put up well over a 900 OPS, and in September alone, he hit 8 homers.
Yeah.
Just really started figuring out baseball, and I don't want to say it's a hot streak. I think it's him getting right because
Yeah.
we saw him struggle in the first half. He was still hitting the ball hard, but I was watching him, and it was a lot of ground balls. He was also getting hoed at the plate. I
Yeah.
think he had the most balls called strikes on him in the season by umpires out of anyone in the league. I mean, and some of them were horrible, like 8 to 10 inches off of the plate getting called.
Yeah.
That's neither here or there. I just wanted to bring it up, but I'm just really excited to see what he can do, and that's my projections for him. I don't even think it's a crazy take. I think there's a lot of people in baseball expecting a huge season from Wyatt Langford, and I might be one of the highest on planet Earth. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a wide length for truther as well. It's just
No,
I you just you
I
watch
saw
him
your
more.
perspective. I
Yeah.
saw your perspective too. I mean,
Yeah.
you had him in the top 15 after where he put up a season where he had 715 OPS. Obviously, I see that you see the potential.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Kind of how you feel about Wyatt Langford is kind of how I feel about my number nine. Honestly, I wanted to put him over the next two guys. I wanted to put him at seven and move the next two guys down. But at number nine, I have Riley Green. I
I have him one
love
spot
Riley
higher.
Green. I
I have him at
love
8.
Riley Green, brother.
I have him at 8, bro.
I can't even justify
I'll let
myself
you
as
talk
to
about it though.
why I haven't put him up higher. I think
You
Riley Green
can't
is
justify yourself. What?
I I want to prove to myself, like I want to tell myself, like just put him higher, just put him higher. For some reason, I can't get
You
myself to
shouldn't
do
have
it.
done it. You
I
should have
think
done it.
Riley Green is a great player. I mean, if you just want to go over his last year, he had a 4 F WAR with a 5.4 B WAR. So I mean, whatever you want to count, I mean, he's a 5 win player. You know what I mean? If you want to count B WAR, he batted 262 with a 348 on base percentage, 479 slug for an 827 OPS for 133 OPS plus. He's 23. You know what I mean?
He's 23,
He's
man.
23 years old, brother. He is just so good. I mean,
And look at his savant.
his savant is
Look at it.
red. It's
Oh
red.
my
And
gosh,
like
he's so good.
88th percentile in xWOBA, 89th percentile in expected slugging, 84th percentile in average X velocity, 90th percentile in barrel percentage, 83rd percentile in hard hit percentage, 90th percentile in sweet spots percentage, 85th
Okay, we don't got
percentile in bat speed. I love Riley Green. He's in
He
the
walks
85th
at a very
percentile.
high clip.
Yes,
Good
83rd.
defender,
83rd. I mean, yeah, I
athletic.
think I think he can even be a better defender. I mean, he's only a 72nd percentile with 1 outs above average.
I think
I
he's gonna
think,
be better too.
yeah, I think he's a better defender than that. I also think,
It's a hard outfield to
yeah,
patrol
Detroit's
out there
hard,
in
man. It's
Detroit
weird
too.
dimensions. It's also a weird dynamic. I mean, obviously they got hot with the 1% chance of making the playoffs, and they ended up going to the division series. Unfortunately, losing to the Guardians. I think the future is bright out there in Detroit. And I think the two biggest names you throw out there when you mention the Detroit Tigers is Riley Green and obviously Tariq Skubal. I think Riley Green is going to be the person you look out for the most in our lineup. I think he's going to be the guy you pitch around the most. I think Riley Green is only getting better. I think Riley Green is definitely, when it's all said and done, I think as soon as next year, I think he's in that top 6 to 7 range. I definitely see him being better than a lot of these guys above him, but I also see the guys above him also being better. You know what I mean? But I feel like Riley
There's
Green
so
is,
much talent,
yeah,
man.
I think Riley Green is definitely in that conversation. I love Riley Green.
To
There's
be
not
top
enough good
10 and
things. I
yeah.
just don't think Riley Green does anything wrong. You know what I mean?
No, he doesn't.
If he just wants to repeat what he did last year for the rest of his career, I think you can make arguments that he's a Hall of Famer.
I think
Obviously,
the
it's
only
extremely premature, but I think Riley Green is really fucking good. You know what I mean?
the
I
only thing
think,
I'm a little disappointed about is he doesn't steal as many bags as I wanted
yeah,
him
that's what
to.
I was
But
also gonna
who
say that. Like,
cares?
yeah,
Who
who cares, man?
cares?
I mean, he's gonna walk. So, I mean, if he wants to walk and steal bases, even better. But at least he does one of the two. You
Just
know?
his WAR accumulation would be higher if he stole
Yeah, for sure.
bases.
I also think you can also plug him in center, and I think his work could be higher there too. I don't think he's a bad defender at all. Yeah, with Riley Green, there's nothing you can look at him and be like, I wish he did this more because I think he does everything extremely well at an above average clip, and he's only getting better. He's only 23 years old, and I can't wait to watch Riley Green play baseball this year.
Yeah, so I had Riley Green at 8 too. So
Yeah,
I'm right there with you.
yeah.
My number 9 slot is Stephen Kwan though.
Okay, I have
Out of the
Stephen Kwan at
Cleveland
number 8.
Guardian. Okay, so we
Yeah,
just
I have Queen at
flip-flopped
8.
it.
Yeah,
Right. So our lists are actually lining up
yeah.
pretty good. I think our top five, we're gonna have some debate, I think. But Stephen Kwan is he's every old head's wet dream.
Yeah.
He doesn't strike out. He walks at a decent clip, but he swings all the time. He's very aggressive in the plate. He makes contact with the best of them. 94th percentile on expected batting average. He defends at an elite level in a corner, 85th percentile on outs above average. And if I told you that Stephen Kwan had a cannon, you better believe it. Coming out
Yeah.
of that small frame, 5'9", 170, this guy, the ball comes out of his arm like a missile.
He's also quick
And
too. He's gonna get the ball out of his hand.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
he
And
does
that helps.
everything well. He is in the 84th percentile in fielding run value, 72nd in base running, and 88th in batting run value. Um, for my money, he's one of the best leadoff guys in baseball. Um,
If I had to
obviously,
choose
there's
between him and Luis Rise with 80 grade hit tools, I'm going Stephen Kwan.
I would agree with you
And I'm
too,
going Stephen Kwan every single day of the
because
week,
the
man.
fact that Stephen Kwan, um, I mean, like I said, his average exit velocity isn't obviously the best, but that's just because he just puts his bat on ball so
Yeah.
much. But he hits the ball. His 90th percentile exit velo is much
And
higher
he
than
also
Luis
tapped into some
Rice.
power. I
Yeah,
mean,
14
yeah,
homers this
14
season.
homers. And for a guy that doesn't swing and miss, for a guy that's usually known as just a bat to ball kind of guy, he's going to slap hitter, you know what I mean? Get rack up some singles. I mean, he hit 14 homers. You know
And
what I
I
mean?
think it could have been more, but he dealt with that back
Yeah,
injury.
he had 16 doubles with three triples. He's fast as hell too. You know what I mean? How many stolen bases? He had 12. I think he can tap into that 20 range. I
We've
mean, if
seen
you
him
want to
get
look at the, yeah,
21.
yeah, you see him 21 in 2023 and 19 in
Yeah.
2022. I think maybe he was a little bit cautious on the base pass because of that back. He missed out a lot of games. He played his career low this year with 122 games. I mean, he had
And
14 homers. I mean, what can say maybe
a
he
lot
tapped
of
into
those
20? You
games
know what I mean?
in the second half, he was dealing with that back issue.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
I
it's
had him
hard
in
to,
fantasy,
yeah.
and when he had those injuries, I mean, you really saw him go off a cliff. I mean, he missed some time early in the year as well, and but he wasn't a qualified hitter. But if he was a qualified hitter, he would have been leading the league in batting average. But he still finished
Uh,
the year at a 292 batting average. It's not bad. I just think it's phenomenal to see a guy who hits for such a high average also walk at such a good level too. You know what I mean? He's in the 70th percentile in walk percentage. I mean, I just think that's great. I really think that's really cool for Stephen Kwan. And that's why he's just a little tick higher above Riley Green. Because I mean, if he could tap into that 20 homer potential, even 15 to 20, as
I
he
think
had
he can
14
get
this year,
20.
I think you're looking at a little bit higher, maybe a top 7 corner outfielder. And if he wants to move to center, I mean, you can make an argument maybe he's in that top 5 range.
Pre
Um,
All-Star break in 69 games, he had 9 homers and 14 doubles, and he slugged at a 512 clip and
yeah,
a
yeah. I mean, he's really
919
good.
OPS. I mean, I think I could see him. Obviously, I was watching a podcast of him during spring training, and he was talking about how Stephen Vogt was telling them to try to tap into more power and not just slap the ball around the field because a lot of the Guardians teams we've known in the past
Yeah,
were just
they lack the power
ball
department.
first,
Yeah,
ball
they lack
first.
power
And Stephen Vogt came in and obviously made some changes to their mindset, and we've seen it big in the first half for
immediately.
this guy.
Yeah.
So I think if his back didn't go out on him, we could have seen a 20 homer season from Stephen Kwan, and if he's hitting 20 homers, uh, he might
Like,
get
it's a
MVP
scary player,
votes.
bro. That's
He
a
might
scary
get
player.
MVP votes, man.
I mean, you're a 4-win player. I think his F4 might be even be a little bit higher, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
because he's a
Five
great
point
defender
5.4 or four. I'm sorry. What'd you say? 4 wins season, right?
on B War.
Yeah.
On
So
F4, he had about the same. So it's cool to see. He actually had a zero point 0.1 difference in F4. He had a 4 B War with a 4.1 F4, which
yeah,
obviously, if you know the difference between F4 and B War, they just kind of count defense just a little bit higher. As in terms of how B War calculates theirs. But yeah, man, I like Stephen Kwan a lot. He's a three-time Gold Glove winner, and just how we talked about Ian Happ's maybe those more deserving for a fact. Stephen Kwan's are. Stephen Kwan is a great defender.
yeah. All right, let's get into your number seven,
Number seven, I have Jaron Duran.
Jaron Duran. Okay, I have Jackson Churio here.
Interesting. Do you have Jaron Duran at number six?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so
Um,
just I have Jackson Churio at number six.
okay, so we flip-flopped
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
I'll get into Jackson Churio and then you could touch up based on Jaron Duran.
See, the thing
Um,
about Jaron Duran, man, I'm obviously very active on Yankees Twitter, so we always see trolls like Boston Twitter always talking about Jaron Duran, riding his meat just all day, every day. I think Jaron Duran's a good player, but I don't knock him at all. He's also from Corona, which is about 35 minutes away from my house, well, both me and Ryan's house. I just feel like an 8.7 WAR. I just don't see him replicating that.
I
I
mean, you
don't
don't
think
have to
that's I
replicate that
think
to
that's
be
his
great,
career.
bro.
I don't. Well, he's also my number eighth best corner outfielder in the
Yeah,
league. You know what I mean? So it's just I'm not hating on the dude. It's just I think Jackson Chorio just going to be a little bit better. I think his floor is higher than Jaron Duran's, and I think that's why Jackson
his
Chorio is one
ceiling I
spot
think
above.
is higher
Yeah,
too.
I just in every single aspect of baseball, I just think Jackson Chorio is going to be the better player, and I think his projections stay the same.
Jackson Churio had
Um,
a similar season to
and
Wyatt
Jackson Chorio
Langford.
is what 20,
Yeah, I
and
think he
that's why he's
started.
higher.
He was born in 2004, so
Yeah,
he's
he's
21.
actually yeah
He's gonna be
exactly.
21. So
834 OPS for Jaron Duran, 492 slug with a 342 on base with a 285 batting average. I mean, he's a good player, man. Don't get me wrong. He's a great defender as well. Steals bases at a very high clip as well. I think this is the best ever like career season that Jaron Duran's gonna have.
but if
And
this is
just
his career season,
it's
I
a
mean,
great
that's a
season. I
great
mean, an
season.
8-win season, like it's no knock to Jaron Duran like at all. I think
I'm not
Duran's a
saying you're
really
not
good
gonna. Yeah,
player. I just don't think he's ever going to replicate that. I think he's more like half of that. You know what I mean? Projections have him at a 3.3 F4. This past year, he had a 6.7 F4. I mean, if you look at his savant, I mean, it's good. It just nothing really jumps out the board. You know what I mean? His highest percentile is 87th in expected batting average, but a great defender. 11 outs above average in the 95th percentile in range, 87th percentile in arm value, and 96th percentile in sprint speed at 29.6 feet per second.
you stole
Um,
50 bags this year, right?
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
I
He's
mean, you
really
steal
good.
50 bags and
He
play
sold
great
34.
defense.
He
We
sold
saw
34.
Bryce Terang. He put up
He
a
sold
4-win
34.
season. Okay, 34.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know where I got 50 from. Maybe it was.
He
Oh,
had 54
I
walks.
think
It's
that's
right next
Corbin
to it.
Carroll who had
Oh,
50
okay.
steals. Um, but yeah, Jackson or Jaron Duran's obviously a stud, and
I mean, he had 48
I
doubles.
think his floor is going to be about a 5-win
Led the
season.
league in doubles um and triples. He
Yeah,
also led the league in plate appearances and at bats.
played
He
every day.
hasn't in 2023 he played 102 games. This year he played 160. I don't really know much about his injury history. I also just know that he was really bad. So during his first 3 years in the league, so he didn't get a lot of playing time. But yeah, I mean he's 27. I think I don't. You'd really have to convince me. You really have to sit me down and convince me that this is the type of player Jaron Duran is. I just don't see that happening.
I think if he does it again, if he puts up
That's six WAR.
let's speak F4. Let's speak F4. If he puts up a
So
5 F4 season because he put up what a 6.6 this past season,
6.7, 6.7.
6.7. If he puts up a 5 F4 season, I'm sold on him being
Yeah,
top six. And I have him at 6. I'm really high on Jaron Duran. I
Jaron
think
Duran.
he's going to do that. Because he's just solid. He excels at everything on the field, and I think he could tap into maybe even more power. He plays that big green monster to his advantage well, and I know that might not count in the underlining stats, but on accounting stats, it's going to count.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
even in real baseball, I mean, if you just watch
so
the game, it counts all the same. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Yeah.
But to get into Jackson Churio because he is my seventh slot, he really struggled in the first half. I mean, he's 20
Similar
years
to
old.
Wyatt Langford.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he barely put up a 74 OPS, but in the second half, boy, did he pop off. Slash line of a 310, 363, and 562 for well over a 900 OPS. He hit 12 homers in 63 games, 17 doubles, and he stole 12 bags in the second half. He was kind of underwhelming on the defensive end of the field this season, but I think he's 20 years old. I mean, he's definitely going to get better out there. He was probably playing nervous as hell and just not trying to commit errors, and that might have faulted him in his ability out there. But his best month was in August, where he slashed 321, 372, and 554. I mean, this kid's in size, he's not the biggest guy, but boy, does he play a lot bigger than he is. And I'm just so excited to see how he plays out there in Milwaukee. I think they found the cornerstone for their franchise. They extended him. Good on him. Good on them. And they found a successor for when Yelich retires, and they found the president for Jackson Churia.
I
So
mean, it just shows you how faithful the Brewers are to him because he didn't even play in the big leagues yet before they extended him for I believe 8 years, over $100 million, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Jackson Churio. I also I like to seeing that he carried it over into the playoffs as well. Granted, it was only the wild card series,
dude,
but he
he
played
he
well.
popped like three
Yeah, he
homers.
played well. Like I don't, I like to see that's what translated. I think Jackson
Yeah.
Churio, we're only scratching the surface of what he can really be. He's very young. He's gonna have a very long career, at least 9 years in the league or 8 years in the league, because that's how long he signed for. So, yeah, man, I'm really high on Jackson Churio, and that's why he's just a little bit higher than Jaron Duran. I feel like Jackson Churio is more of a safer bet. I think he has a higher floor as well as a higher ceiling than Jaron Duran. And I'm really excited to watch Jackson Churio play baseball as well. The future's looking really bright over there in Milwaukee. Like you said, he's going to take over Christian Yelich's spot. And I think he can learn a lot from Christian Yelich as well. So
Man,
I
no
do
gripe
want,
for me for you having
yeah,
him at set
yeah.
six.
Um, I also think he's going to tap into better defense too. I don't think that's the type of player he is defensively. I think he's too athletic to be, that mid at defense. And he also runs the bases very well, which I like to see. I think he's eventually going to be a 5-tool player. I think maybe he's already shown a little bit of shadows of being a 5-tool player, but until that defense gets a little bit better, I can't really categorize him that. But when it's all said and done, I think we're going to be talking of the likes of Jack Churio as a 5-tool player, all right up there with a lot of these guys that are in the top five, top six.
Absolutely. So
Yeah,
before we get into that top five, let's take a quick break.
cool. All right, man. So Jackson Churio, Jaron Duran, I think they're interchangeable. I just give the edge to Jackson Churio. So I'll let you get into your number five.
Number five, I have MVP 2023 National League MVP Ronald Acuna Jr. in my five slot.
I have Ronald Acuna Jr. in my four spot.
Okay, so there we go, flipping again.
Yeah,
Who's in your five?
Fernando Tatis Jr.
Okay, Tatis is in my four. So, obviously Acuna coming off a game season where only played 50 games, 49 games to be exact, 760 no pace. He struggled when he was on the field, to be fair. He actually
Yeah,
put up a zero B-WAR after putting up 8.2 last season. Obviously, we know winning that MVP last season. But coming off an ACL, the reason I couldn't get put him any higher is because I'm super high on Acuna. But after his ACL tear in 2021, in 2022 we saw him put up a 764 OPS and a 2.6 BWAR. It was the worst year of his career. Um, Only slugged 413, stole only 29 bags. Obviously, we know Acuna has elite speed, but I coming off the ACL tear, I'm just not confident he gets back to that MVP 950 plus OPS guy. I still think he's going to be really good. Obviously, I'm having him in my fifth slot on this loaded list, and that also comes with resume. But there's not much to say about Acuna. If he could be a better defender, there's a way he could be number two on this list just
yeah,
because of God-given ability and how hard he works and what he puts and in that batter's box and on the base paths. Um, but he plays two or he's obviously elite with a stick. I mean, in 2023, that MVP season, 41 homers, 73 stolen bases, a 1012 OPS, 171 OPS plus, hit 35 doubles, had a 337 batting average. He was doing it in every regard.
yeah.
Um,
You like to see him
and
pick it a little bit better in the outfield,
yeah,
but by no means is he a terrible defender. You know what I mean?
yeah, he's too athletic to be
Yeah,
horrible, right?
yeah, exactly.
Um, so
I also think the ACLs definitely play a factor
yeah,
in his defense for sure.
I think he's afraid to get hurt almost out
Yeah.
there.
So the reason why I have Ronald Acuna Jr. over Fernando Tatis Jr. is because when I look at the splits for Fernando Tatis Jr., he has a 682 OPS versus left-handed pitching. Um,
This is the first year he struggled against
I
lefties in his
don't. I
career, to be
just.
fair.
I mean, if you look at his savant, it's red. It's red. And also, I don't understand how you go from the platinum glove winner the year prior to the 34th percentile in range and outs above average is a
He hurt
negative
his
two.
fucking leg,
I
man.
get
Get
it,
off
bro.
his
I get it.
back.
I get it. It's just look at his F war. He had a 3.2 F war this year with a 2.6 B war. You know what I mean? I can't put that over Ronald Acuna Jr. I understand he's hurt. I understand there's definitely going to be injury concerns based off of honestly, it's surprising that you have a track record of how you perform after you tear ACL. I mean, it really sucks for Ronald Acuna Jr. to go out there and tear his ACL again. It really sucks, man. It really does. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just can't look at the 2.6 B war Fernando Tatis Jr. just had this past year and the 3.2 F war he just had this past year and put him over the likes of Ronald Acuna Jr. And I can't look at the splits as well as the defense and how much he fell off this past year and put him in a little bit ahead of Ronald Acuna Jr.
Can we talk about that playoff performance in those
I
seven
mean,
games,
sure, he
though,
still couldn't
Andrew?
hit lefties.
Oh my God, that was
Um,
electric, though, brother. Oh,
yeah,
I
I
was
mean,
there for that wild card game one when he hit that homer.
disappeared. I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr. I mean, granted, the entire Padres team disappeared in games 4 and 5, as well as the back half of game 3. But is that a testament to the Dodgers? I mean, probably. It's just I, there's
He
just
didn't disappear.
I mean, he
There's
did
two games. He was had a
2.5.
he had a homer in that in game three
Sure, sure.
with
What
two
about the
strikes
second
off
half?
Walker Buehler, by the
Sure,
way.
cool.
Um,
Walker Bueller.
so the
It
reason I
just
have Fernando Tatis above Acuna, I think this is the season where he gets back to that 150 OPS plus we saw from him in 19, 20, and 21. And I think he's going to be great defensively as well. I could see him jumping up to number two on this list
interesting.
after this coming season.
I don't
I
think it's
think
a hot
this is
take,
the
by the way.
season. I don't think it's hot either. I
Mm,
think this is the season see him finish top three in MVP again. I think this is the season we see him get back to that 35 to 40 homer power 35 to 40 homer season where we know he's capable of having. And I think this is the year because this is the year they need him to do this.
yeah.
The Padres desperately need 2021 Tatis's bat in that lineup.
I don't think
And
Tatis mindful. Tatis is a generational talent.
he's 26
Generational.
still, bro.
Yes.
26.
Kyle, bro, yes. I love Tatis, man. I really do. It's just I need to see him bounce back, man.
He's
And by
going
no
to. This
means
is gonna
is
be
he
the
bad,
season.
bro. He's not a bad player. He's on a 14-year contract worth $338 million. You know what I mean? Fernando Tatis Jr. is an amazing generational player. The PED suspension, sure. I mean, if you want to hate on Fernando Tatis Jr. And the type of player he is on the field, I mean, that's your own opinion. I don't mind. I appreciate greatness and I appreciate what Fernando Tatis Jr. does when he's on the baseball diamond. It's just I don't know what's wrong with him. Sure, you can blame it on a leg injury. I just don't like how much of a step backwards he took defensively and how much of a step backwards he took against left-handed pitching. And that's why I just gave Ronald Acuna Jr. just a little bit of the edge.
Bro, I don't think there's a wrong
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
here. It's just we're pulling hairs
I think a lot of the
at the
viewers are going to
greats
be
of the
like, why
game.
aren't they three? Why aren't they 3-4? Why is the number three guy the
Well,
number
because
three
number
guy?
three
We'll get
is
to number three in a second.
we had the same top three, by the way,
Yes,
guys.
yes.
Spoiler alert. If we just let's just say it real quick.
It's Kyle
Number three is
Tucker.
Kyle Tucker. Number
Yes,
two is Juan Soto. Number
yes.
one
It is
is the
Aaron Judge.
greatest player that Andrew and I think, have ever laid our eyes on in Aaron Judge.
Yes.
Well, I mean, outside of Shohei, greatest hitter we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't think there's a wrong answer. How you
I don't
rank
think
these
I think
two.
the 1 and 2 were solidified. And whatever order you want to put 3, 4, and 5
I could see
is
Tucker above Soto
nah. I mean, if you sure, because Tucker plays
because
multiple sides of the
but
ball.
like I said, I think Soto's better than Tucker.
Yeah.
But I think three, four, five,
It's
are
intertwinable.
interchangeable
Yeah.
almost. Yeah. So, let's get into Kyle Tucker too.
I mean,
The
what do you want
newest
to say
Chicago
about Kyle
Cub.
Tucker? I mean, earlier in this list, we talk about consistency. Sure, those players are consistently like a little bit above average. Kyle Tucker is
He's
consistently
consistently
just like
great.
just great. You know what I mean? Like he's I mean, if this guy plays a full season, we can make an argument that maybe his
Can
season would have been better than Judge's. You know what
can
I
you
mean?
look at his Savant
It's red.
993 OPS? If he was qualified for these positions,
It's up there with
my
the best
God,
players in the league.
it's 100th percentile on X WOBA at 400. He's in the 90th percentile on X batting average. It looks like the 95th percentile on X slug. Probably the mid 80s to low 80s in average X velo. 90th percentile in barrel percentage. 95th percentile in sweet spot percent. I don't,
It looks like the
whatever.
99th percentile in
90th
walk
and
percentage.
chase rate too.
Yeah.
Just he didn't play defense as well this season, but we've seen him be elite, and I think
Yeah.
that was because of that calf. When he came back, he was kind of mediocre out there to
Yeah.
put it. Um, but I mean, we've seen him
I
put
mean, he
up.
put up a 4.7 B war through 78 games. You know
Do
what I
you
mean?
understand that
Like
is the
how good that
pace
is.
for a nine
And
and a half win season?
he put up a 4.2 F4 through 78 games. Like over a full season, we're talking close to a 10-win season here. And he plays a corner outfield. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I think he would have had a higher war if he played a center field where defenses contributed a lot more into your war. And I don't think Kyle Tucker plays a bad outfield. Kyle Tucker is just like he's a 5 tool player. And I think if anyone disagrees with that, you just don't know ball. He had 181 OPS plus, 181 OPS plus. That's in the same category as Shohei Ohtani. You know what I
That's
mean?
Trout's prime.
Yes, a
That's in the same category as
993,
Trout's prime.
993 OPS with a 585 slug with a 400 a 408 on base percentage with a 289 average. I mean, how many stolen bases did he have? He had 11 stolen bases with a 23 home runs
We've
with the
seen him put up 30
78.
stolen bases
Yes,
before.
he had 30 stolen bases just as late as 2023. You know what I mean? He led the league in 2023 in RBIs with 112. Obviously, RBIs is a subjective stat. I mean, some people like it, some people hate it, some people just don't think it means anything. But it's definitely something worth mentioning. He's gonna
By the
hit when
way,
players are on base.
he put up a higher OPS plus than Juan Soto. Granted, in 78 games, and
Yeah,
Soto obviously
yeah.
played
I mean,
157,
yeah. I mean,
but that's why I
at the
said Tucker
time,
could possibly be
yeah,
two if you
yeah, B
see it.
two. And I think I don't even if he doesn't have the same a higher OPS plus than Juan Soto, I think you could definitely make an argument that Kyle Tucker is still better.
Soto's
Be,
26, bro.
yeah, I mean, Kyle Tucker's 27.
Yeah, no, he's gonna be 28 this season.
Uh,
I was saying Soto's
yeah, he
age
just turned
coming into the
28. He
season.
just
Yeah.
turned 28. Yeah,
So, I mean, let's get into Soto too because we could just glaze these next three guys
yeah.
and even the past two guys for hours because they're just such elite baseball talents.
I mean,
But I
what could
mean,
be said
what?
about Soto? He just signed the
Yeah,
biggest contract in Major League Baseball history. I mean, you'd think that's just because, you know what I mean? Just,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Just a random selection. I'm just gonna throw all your money at you. That's not the truth. He's in the 100th percentile in xWOBA and expected batting average, 99th percentile in expected slug, 98th percentile in average exit velocity, 99th percentile in both barrel and hard hit percentage. I mean, the 100th percentile in walks. He's not going to play defense, bro. You
And
don't
his
sign Juan Soto to play defense, but he's going to hit the fucking baseball.
in
You
his
know what I mean?
age 26 season, let's look at some of these milestones he's gonna reach.
Yeah.
He's gonna reach 1,000 hits. He's gonna reach 200 doubles. He just hit 200 his 200th homer as a Yankee. He's gonna he's gonna reach he could possibly get to 900 walks next season in his age 26 season, and he's gonna in his career he has a 160 OPS plus. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the closest thing we've ever seen to these old heads who claim their players are better than ours, which whatever, it's MLB history, I'm all here for it, but
Yeah.
this is the closest guy we've ever seen to Ted Williams as we're gonna get. I
Yeah.
mean, this guy is a special talent, and he's gonna be doing this for the next 10 years, and I'm just honored to
Do
be
you
able
think
to
he plays
watch him.
better in New York, the other side of the Queens?
I think he's similar. I think this is who he is. I think he's
Do you
gonna
think
be
he's
around.
35 homers, 90 RBIs, around a 270 batting average, around 420? I think his on base percentage is still, it might even be a little bit higher because you don't have the protection of Judge behind you.
He's looking for his eighth straight season, by the way. He was 18. He put up a 406 on base percentage.
Yeah. I mean,
Since
yeah.
then, he's had over 400 on base percentage his entire career. By the
Yeah.
way, when he batted 246, he had a 408 on base percentage,
Yeah.
152 points higher than his batting average.
Yeah.
Just an insane talent.
Incredible, man. Incredible.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But you don't, like you said, you don't pay, like how I said earlier, you don't pay Juan Soto to play other sides of the baseball field. I mean, he's not a good defender. I mean, I really want to make that clear. Juan Soto is not the greatest of
Got a
defenders.
cannon.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, he can throw runners out, but he's definitely not going to go gap to gap. He's not going to make any spectacular plays. He's going to make the plays he's supposed to make. But other than that, I mean, he's not going to do much on that side. He's not going to run very well either. Um, but
Nope.
he's going to be the third best hitter in Major League Baseball with the likes of Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, and Jordan Alvarez. So yeah, I'm sad to see him go, but just as a baseball fan in general, I'm very happy for the Mets that they're able to see Juan Soto play out his entire career over there. He's going to be known as a Met, and you're ecstatic if he's on your ball club, man. Um, it's really hard to say. I really don't think he's going to replicate it. I mean, it's not the biggest of downgrades to have Pete Alonso bat right behind you, but it's not Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball, and right next to Shohei Ohtani, he's obviously the best position player in baseball. But Juan Soto's definitely in that category as well, and good on the Mets to bringing him over there to Queens, and there's not really much you can add there.
Yeah, let's get into Aaron Judge because I just want to bring I'm to me this is
He's modern day Barry Bonds,
the
brother.
closest thing to Barry Bonds
Yeah,
we're
he's
gonna get.
modern day Barry
Let's look
Bonds.
at this last 3 year stretch he's had. By the way, the best 3 year stretch I've ever put my eyes on. He's to me he's better than Mike Trout. No shade to Mike Trout.
No, it's just a testament
Forever
to
a
how
legend.
good Aaron Judge
But
is.
in the last 3 seasons, 26 WAR in 421 games, 157 homers. Has put up an 1107 OPS and a 206 OPS plus. He's averaging 8.6 BWAR in the last 3 years per season, while averaging 52 homers, 27 doubles, and well over 100 walks. He's also averaging 10 stolen bases. And playing good defense in 23 and 22 in a corner.
How much
For
B-WAR has he accumulated over the last 3 years?
I just closed out of it. I think it's well over almost 26, 25.8.
He has a higher F4. He has a 27 F4 on the dot
Wow. I mean,
over the last three
that's
years.
and he only played 106 games in 2023.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, for me this is the second greatest player of all time. Um Obviously Shohei would be up there when he's done. But it's Barry Bonds and it's Aaron Judge, and there might be a gap between the next guy. This
Yeah.
guy is special, man, and I'm just excited to see his career develop. I think if he gives us 2 to 3 more years like this,
I also want to highlight the fact that I know you touched base, like he's playing center field, he's playing decent defense. The last year that he actually played right field for the majority of the year, he's in the 85th percentile in range, 93rd percentile in arm value, and 93rd percentile in arm strength. He's a great defender. He's a better hitter than Juan Soto and an above average defender as well. I mean, what more do you want? If it wasn't for Shohei Ohtani, who does it literally on both sides of the ball because he pitches as well as hits, I mean, there's no debate that Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball if it wasn't for Shohei Ohtani. And maybe when it's all said and over, maybe the greatest baseball player we've ever seen, period, in general. Um, but I don't really think there's much to add. If you even if you watch only the World Series, you know what I mean, you only watch playoff baseball, you're gonna know about Aaron Judge. You know what I mean? It's just you'd really have to not have social media at all to not know who Aaron Judge is. Aaron Judge, honestly, bro, like as a Yankee fan, I nothing surprises me anymore when I watch him play. You know what I mean? It just, he'll go on a 10 games, will have 7 homers. You know what I mean? I'm just like, that's cool. You know what I mean? I'm sure you can get to 10. I wonder if he'll get to 10. You know what I mean? You just nothing. He's a two-time MVP, should be three-time MVP, six-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year, four-time Silver Slugger, Home Run Derby champ. And I think when it's all said and done, he's probably going to have at least one Gold Glove, and fingers crossed, hopefully a World Series. I think if he keeps his trajectory, he has a 52.2 career B WAR with a career
he should be a
51.4
unanimous
F WAR. You know what I
he
mean?
should
Like
be a
if he just
unanimous Hall
keeps,
of Famer right now.
yes, exactly. Even if he keeps up half of what he's done, and half of what he's done is what he had 58 homers. So what is that?
If he hits
20.
30 for the next 6 years,
Yes, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, unanimous.
he's gonna be at almost 500 homers and 2,000 hits probably.
Yes. I mean, he'd have a lot more hits if he didn't walk in the 100th percentile. You know what I mean? Like,
If he didn't walk 133 times.
yes, brother. Like, he batted 322. You know what I mean?
This
Like,
year, he broke a AL record for home runs, and he fucking outwarred and had a better year
this
two
year.
years later than
Yes,
that
brother.
season. Oh
Yes.
my God.
I mean,
1159 OPS. A
and
223 OPS plus, bro.
he'll be 33 this year. I don't see any signs of slowing down. I mean, the underlying stats love him. The counting stats love him. I just don't think he's
I
slowing
love
down. He
him.
just had his first kid this like a couple weeks
Father
ago.
power. He might
Maybe,
hit
yeah, maybe
70.
he'll
He
tap into
might
that
hit
dad
70.
power. He's
I
not only
hope he
playing
hits
for
70.
himself and his wife now, he's playing for his kid now. So who knows? Maybe he's even gonna be better this year.
I'm
And
rooting for Aaron Judge
I think his
to
war is going to be relatively similar. He's going to go back to right field. I mean, who says he doesn't accumulate more because he's not going to be penalized as much? You know what I mean?
have an 11 war season, Judge.
Yeah,
Have a 12 war season.
yeah.
I just keep going, hit 70 homers, dude. I'm rooting for this guy to
I mean, he
be
had an
insane.
11.2 F for this year. I mean,
Yeah,
can he get to 12, 13? I mean, time will tell. I just wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't even pass 70 homers past him. You know what I mean? I think
yeah.
he's the best corner outfielder in the game. He's
And
the
he
best
had a.
outfielder in the game and
Can
the
we talk
second
about
best
how he
player in
had a
baseball.
slow April this season?
Oh yeah, terrible
712
April.
OPS in the
Yeah,
first month.
terrible, terrible.
Well, not
Everyone,
terrible. It's
I
above
was,
average
yeah, it's
hitter,
above
and it's
average, but
terrible
still,
for
like
Judge.
it's terrible for Judge's standards, 100%.
Yeah. And
Um,
imagine if he,
I
yeah, if
was
he
one of
had
those
a.
stupid dudes on Twitter. I was like, "Does Juan Soto intimidate Aaron Judge?" Boy, could I not be far from the truth, brother. I think Juan Soto's intimidated by Aaron Judge. You know what I mean? It just, yeah, two through April and March, 207 batting average, 754 OPS. I think you already said that.
Yeah.
He only had 6 homers,
Yeah.
which
So
was his least the entire year. Just consistently a superstar.
yeah. I
Nothing more
mean
you can add.
that's gonna wrap it up too,
Yeah.
man. I could talk about Judge for hours. For my money, the greatest player I've ever laid my eyes on. So, um, that's gonna wrap it up. What position do you want to do next?
Should we do shortstop? Go back to
I
the
mean,
infielder?
no. Let's do first.
Should we do first base?
Yeah, let's do first base.
I
Or
wonder who
let's
will
do
be number one.
catchers. Let's do catchers, actually.
All right, we'll do catchers.
Let's do a
Top
boring
10
position because we
catchers.
just got corner outfielders.
Yeah.
So let's
All right,
do
man.
catchers. All right.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Leave it all your thoughts in the comment section. We'd love to interact with you guys. And we'll catch you next time.
Peace.